The message is loud and clear, simple and straight to the point. The world leaders need to invest in saving lives through financially supporting Global Fund. Global Fund is funded by nations across the world, but them reducing or ceasing their support to the organization that has for 13 years been financially supporting people living with HIV/AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria will result in the loss of many lives that depend on the organization. These are men and women who are affected or living with HIV and AIDS, tuberculosis, malaria, disabilities, among other challenges, marching and petitioning world leaders not to stop funding of the Global Fund. They gathered in small numbers at Cathedral of the Holy Cross in Lusaka and prepared their placards as the numbers kept on growing. Before undertaking their main purpose of that morning, which was marching, signing, and presentation of a petition to the Swedish Embassy in Zambia, Lusaka, they were addressed by the event organizers, Zambian government, and other stakeholders.
I'm fighting in Denmark for us not to cut on how we support the Global Fund, because the fight against malaria, TB, and HIV/AIDS is a fight for solidarity across the world.
The Zambian government was ably represented, and the Deputy Minister was the guest of honor.
The fund needs $13 billion for the period 2017 to 2019 funding cycle that would contribute to save up to 8 million lives and avert up to 300 million infections and new cases of HIV, AIDS, malaria, globally. For those who are not aware, Zambian government annually put in $40 million towards the procuring or purchase of ARVs alone. The Global Fund has invested $845 million in Zambia, which has seen over 790,000 people living with HIV accessing treatment. Support to the Global Fund is critical now more than ever.
Then the march past began after flag off by guest of honor. They marched, sang songs, made appeals with their clearly labeled messages for a distance of 2 kilometers in their quest to have world leaders heed to their plea. As they marched, they passed through Zambia's Ministry of Health in just but one of those ways to encourage the Zambian government to take part in saving millions of lives that are at stake on the continent and world over. Finally, they got to their destination, the Swedish Embassy in Zambia, where they presented their petition.
We, the people living with HIV and AIDS and those affected by TB and malaria, and partners in Zambia and the African region as a whole, call upon world leaders to invest in the Global Fund and save over 1 million lives by 2020. We can end AIDS, TB and malaria by 2030. This is the goal heads of state agreed to in September when they endorsed the Sustainable Development Goals, but only if the fight against the diseases is fully funded. In signing this letter, as civil society, we call on world leaders to provide the financing and to support the commitments that they made.
That you are putting on governments, including our own government, the Swedish government, is also, I think, one of those grassroots initiatives that is needed for things to actually change, for things to happen. I will make sure that this is passed on to our decision makers back in Stockholm.
Music legend, South African, and one of the world champions in the fight against HIV/AIDS, tuberculosis and malaria, Yvonne Chaka Chaka joined the men and women in their quest to have African and global leaders help end epidemics, added her voice too.
Living with HIV, being disabled, it's not a curse.
Yes.
You should love yourselves and walk tall, because we may not be equal, but we are all equal in the eyes of the Lord. So your challenges are just for time being. But thank you to the Global Fund, and we need to fight a lot for a fully funded global fund, because some of you would not have been alive today if it wasn't for the global fund. The message is, but we need to, oh, is the message there?
I'm alive
Oh,
today.
I'm alive today because of the global fund. That is true. But we need to also encourage our governments to put in the money. Thank you very much. I love you. I'll always support you, and I'll always be there with you. Zikomo.